All right, we want to talk about a movie that we just saw, which is
The Hunger Games, but the Ballad
which
of
one?
Songbirds and Snakes.
The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes.
Yes.
That's a mouthful already. Okay, so first of all, in the tradition of Siskel and Ebert, which you are way too young to know, but have heard about, thumbs up or thumbs down?
I haven't heard about it.
I told you all about them. I even showed you when I went to Chicago. I showed you where they
Okay,
were.
so I would say thumbs up.
Okay. And I would say thumbs down.
It's always like this study. It's always like this.
No, there's some movies. I like the Marvels, even though I felt I slept through it.
Yeah, exactly. He's pretty through the movies, and you would pan it with your thumbs down.
Okay, so you want to go first? Why a thumbs up? Now, I will disclose that you have read the first book of the Hunger Games series. You have seen one or two movies.
One.
Okay, and you saw the first movie, but you had an interesting argument for why it was okay to go see this one.
Well, it's a prequel, not a sequel, not it happens before. The main series, the main movies is the 64th edition of the Hunger Games. This Hunger Games is the 10th.
Okay, and it's annual, right?
Yes, the 10th annual Hunger Games.
Okay, so I haven't read any of the books. I saw the movies when they came out, but honestly, I don't remember it. I didn't expect the lead actress to become a big. I guess not my. I guess it's a generational gap. So basically, these movies were not for my generation. The books were not for are not for my generation. They seemed interesting, but then they basically started this trend of all these movies that are like with these teens who something bad happens to them.
Dystopian fiction.
Okay.
Dystopian fiction, basically.
Okay.
It's always teens.
So what's your review?
So what I liked about it is that it had two points of view. The point of view of Lucy Gray in the arena with all the battling, the Hunger Games, and the point of view of Mr. Snow, who will become the president. And it's interesting to see the contrast between both their lives. One is the mentor, the other is the fighter, I think they called him, I'm not sure. And I found that really interesting to be in the movie.
What's interesting about that?
Well, I don't know, like the other Hunger Games movies, like the first Hunger Games book where the Hunger Games happen, it's only from Katniss's point of view. In this movie, it had dialogue, which the first movie lacks of. It really does. It has basically.
Okay, so my review. So I found the plot to be a little bit convoluted. Some of the things were sort of overplayed in terms of, the sort of politics. It was kind of garish. It was kind of like like it's like a photo where like the colors are too strong or like when a kid does a painting of a dinosaur and it looks like a bunch of like sticks and you have to really have a lot of imagination to see a dinosaur. And this was like a big budget movie. The studio's obviously making a big bet with this movie, investing a lot in it. It still felt like some 2-year-old's crayon strokes. And the funny thing is, nobody seemed to mind. It felt so. We saw it in an IMAX theater, and it felt like the audience, which was mostly teenage girls and young adult women, seemed to me, maybe that's my biased impression, didn't care. They were just there for the Hunger Games experience. Um, I mean, these movies deal with like themes of revolutions and rebellion and revolt and sort of insurrection in very naive ways. But there's some insightful parts. But I mean, what bothers me about this movie is that it's a sort of blatant, overt, unabashed glorification of murder and like the society where
It's a dystopian.
murder is seen as legitimate. Let me finish. and um, and that everybody thinks, nobody questions that. Nobody questions that, like, murder is not okay. And I know it's a movie, I know it's fiction, I know it's dystopian, this or that, but still, that was just
The,
shock to me.
the definition of dystopian fiction is a society that works but that isn't just. So that's part of dystopian fiction, Daddy.
Yeah, but saying it's this genre doesn't. I mean, yeah. So I would expect, like, to see really some of the dilemmas and consequences. I mean, once people start just wantonly murdering each other, they make a game where people kill each other. Then
Yeah,
bad
they
things
make
happen.
it for a reason. But
Yeah.
what was the reason?
Oh, come on. Yeah. So there were, yeah. So that's when she asks Snow, why are there Hunger Games?
Yes, it's the doctor who is like the main antagonist, basically, but they're basically all antagonists, who questions Snow why there's the Hunger Games, and she wants him to answer, but he's not sure what the answer is. At the end of the movie, he finds the answer.
Well, okay. So here's something I really didn't like. The very opening of the movie, you have the two kids, Snow and his sister, and they are hiding. It's like right after the apocalypse or whatever, right after they were in the middle of the war. Yeah. And you see this guy who's wounded on the battlefield that's in the city, in this urban, yeah, wounded or dead. And this other guy comes along and starts eating his leg. Okay. So there's cannibalism. And so we see that, and other than the shock value, it's sort of gratuitous. There's no explanation or context or who are. Yeah, okay, hunger, but still. Yeah, okay, 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 okay. I see where you're
They
going.
even said it. They even said it.
Yeah, but then, and then you see the same two kids are grown up, and obviously, so on the one hand, they seem to be part of this sort of high society. The Snow is going to the highest academy and so on, and yet they're struggling to make ends meet, and they're not sure if they're going to be able to pay rent. At one point, he learns that his sister and their mother have lost their
Eviction.
yeah, have been evicted from that apartment. So yeah, and yet this is like the undercurrent. There's these sort of naive things about social class. About the rich and the poor, about the people who are from the districts versus the people from the city. But we're never sure, like, what is the movie trying to say about those things. It just sort of uses them as
No, it
props.
doesn't. I don't think it does want to send you a message. I'm not sure if that's what the Hunger Games is for.
So what is it about then?
Well, the movie. Do you mean the games or the movie?
Both. I mean, yeah, the movies are like about the game in a way the movies are, or that movie is like a game unto itself.
What do you mean?
So I thought the most interesting character was Lucy. But even Lucy's character was like underdeveloped. Like, you never understand what her motivation is. You have these initial scenes where it seems like she's this crazy young woman, who's does all these bizarre things, like between sort of this beautiful singing and sheer brutality, and you don't know her backstory. You don't know why she became this way. It's sort of hinted at, and she's never fully developed as a character. It's almost like she exists only so that Snow can have his experience. Now, spoiler, I do have a theory about Katniss, but we'll come back to that. So, do you agree or disagree about that? That she's kind of like an empty vessel, and she's just there like for Snow to have his story, his adventure.
Yeah, they didn't really expand on her adventure. They really didn't. So I agree with you. The focus was more on Snow. Like in the original Hunger Games, there was Katniss, who would be Snow in this scenario, and Peeta. Peeta would be Lucy Gray. Like,
Okay.
Peeta is just a vessel. But unlike this one movie, Peter got developed into other books.
Okay. So, Lucy Gray, you want my theory?
Yes, I know about your theory.
So at the end of the movie, she goes out and goes to, I think, to like get Katniss, like the flowers. Isn't that right?
Yes.
So I think that then they're separated. So spoiler, we love spoiling. We don't care. We don't give you any warnings. We're just gonna spoil when we want to. Okay. If you haven't seen the movie, this is like for people who've seen the movie, if you or who haven't seen the movie but who don't care about spoilers. So she goes out and gets Katniss, and they get sort of separated. And my conviction is that she is pregnant, and that she's going to have the daughter or the mother, or yeah, she's going to have the mother of the Katniss in the later Hunger Games. So what do you say to that? Uh-oh, you're getting your laptop
so
computer.
what did you say? Did you say that she was the mother of Katniss?
Mother or grandmother?
It's grandmother, that's for sure.
Oh, so how do you know?
Because in the original series,
Yeah.
you see Katniss's mother.
Okay. So I could be right.
No.
So that links. So Snow would be the grandfather of Katniss, don't they? By the time he becomes like this really super mean president whose breath smells like blood, isn't he Katniss's enemy?
Wait.
So that would be a kind of Star Wars Darth Vader, I'm your father, Luke kind of scenario, right? Okay, you're typing frantically into your laptop.
Okay, so here's what they say. The two District 12 tributes, 65 years apart, may be relatives. Here's why people think that Lucy Baird's cousin, Maud Ivory, is Katniss. This is Katniss Everdeen's grandmother.
Okay. So I'm not the only one to think this. So you see, I was paying attention. I did not fall asleep in this movie. I'm impressed with myself.
The only tangible link between the two characters is that they both come from District 12.
Yeah. Well, do you really think that's a coincidence?
No. You know why Lucy Gray was in the games?
Why?
Because of the mayor's daughter.
Okay, so yeah, so are we done with the review? Do you have anything more to say about it?
Not really. It's just that I can confirm to you that Lucy Gray Baird's isn't the grandmother. She got, if she had kids, it's not with Snow, that's for sure. And there.
Okay. I would like to see a movie about her. I thought she was a really interesting character between the sort of the singing and the sheer brutality.
And you don't know much about her. Like, you don't know what happens after to her.
Yeah, whereas Snow shows up later, right? Because he becomes the big bad president. Okay, so now you've put your laptop away. Okay, so we're done.
Wait, what was your favorite moment?
I think it's those early scenes. So that first scene when she pulls out the snake.
That was funny.
Yeah, and then she breaks into song. I thought it was just sort of incongruous the way she would start singing, and you really, she's like looking around with these wild eyes. You really think like she's crazy, but then she turns out to be.
Yeah, wait.
It's really weird. Then she just sort of, like she's no longer crazy. She's no longer brutal. Yes. Come on.
It was just like it was like she just was walking, and then you see Mayfair, the mayor's daughter, say something mean, and then she takes out the snake and puts it on her neck. That's your favorite scene?
Yep.
And then the mayor punches her, and she just starts singing like a crazy person.
Yeah, okay.
My favorite scene is when the doctor says there will be a storm of rainbow, like a disaster.
Yes,
Disaster.
And spoiler, she's talking about
Snakes.
Okay, let's stop here because I think our audience of two. How many podcast listeners do we have?
40.
No, 40. Yeah, okay. Okay. Well, thank you for listening. If you see this movie, let us know, or if you just have comments about our review, if you've listened this far, we really appreciate it. Leave a comment.
If you reached this far, please comment nose.
Nose what?
Nose. Just nose.
Just write the word nose. Okay. Okay. And if you liked it, write the word feet. So it will have lots of nose feet. Okay, if anybody's listened this far.
And if you subscribe, write toes.
Okay, all right. Okay, that's it for today, folks.